Welcome to the Brood War portion of the Falcon Paladin StarCraft 2 Brood War Power Hour. It's going to be a fastest map sent to me by patron RJB. If you don't know who RJB is, you haven't been watching my channel for very long because he supplies me with very excellent replays. He has his own channel as well. Just search RJB StarCraft, and if you like fastest map, that's all he casts. If you want me to do more, then just check out RJB. Alright, so here we have HamburgerSasu versus an unknown player of Terran origin. So here we go. Unknown player, going by 159, it is the Grey Zerg player. Or rather, this is HamburgerSasu, and 159 is down here. He is the Purple Terran player. So Terran versus Zerg here on fastest map. Should be fairly interesting. This was played November 2019. In case you're wondering when this was particularly played, I do get that question from time to time. And I would speed this up, but it's fastest map, and it's going to be fast enough as it is already. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up a hatchery at his choke at the front door. And then I'm assuming go for the spawning pool, because you really want that spawning pool fast as a Zerg player. I mean, you want a ton of hatches as well, but also you need to be able to deal with early rushes. And if you delay that spawning pool for too long, there will be Marines at your front door, and you will need to deal with them. Whether you make Zerglings or whether you make Sunkens at your choke, right? Right. There's a lot of Korean here, which I don't speak Korean. So if somebody wants to translate this, they are more than welcome to. I don't know what we're looking at, but this is a very aggressive bio opening here out of 159. He's not even getting gas at all. This is a ton of Marines. He's going to try to kill Hamburger fast because I think HamburgerSasu, he's feared, right? He's a feared player in the StarCraft Brood War fastest map community. So if you can kill him faster, it's better for you, especially if he's playing Zerg, because Zerg, the further along in the game it gets, the more scary they are. So here we go. Pressure coming in. This hatch is going to finish, and then like creep colony now, which the SCV is trying to prevent. The SCV is trying to block that, and actually did chase off the drone here. Maybe he doesn't want to throw a creep colony down. He's got a handful of lings, which, you know, slow lings are pretty good against Marines, because Marines aren't fast, and slow lings are bad, but they're faster than Marines are, and they hit pretty hard, especially if there aren't any upgrades. So yeah, actually chasing that Marine out, he's going to wait for his buddies, and then are we really not going to creep this? And interesting, no creep colonies yet. I'm very surprised by this. Maybe it feels like he doesn't need it, but I mean, this is a 3 racks opening, which is trying to be hidden. 159 is trying to hide this, but the Ling comes in for the scout, sees the 3 racks, and says, okay, you know what? Let's get to a lair, but at the same time, we're going to need some defense. So I wouldn't be shocked to see this to become a creep colony and then a sunken, yeah, and we're bringing another one to do the same thing. So probably, I would get 3, but we'll see what Hamburger does. I might be a little bit more cautious than he is. But finally getting some gas, finally working on an academy. He's not going to do just unupgraded Marines forever, because that would be stupid. Scouting SCV taken care of here in Hamburger's base. Lair coming up, and he's not going to make these Sunkens until he has to, right? These Lings are like, okay, I don't have to spend those resources on Sunkens until the army's moving out. And the army's moving out, which this Zergling totally sees. So is it 2 Sunkens enough? I guess there aren't any medics, and there is no stim. So that's a big deal as far as the damage output possible on these here Marines. So 2 seem to be enough for now for Hamburger. Oh, was it just a feint? It might have just been a feint here out of 159. And that's not a bad idea. Honestly, if you're playing a Zerg player, if you feign to attack them, it forces them to make units and spend resources on defenses they don't want to spend. And then if you don't attack, then, hey, no skin off your nose. You're still doing what you're doing, but you hurt them economically. So I don't know why more players don't do that, to be honest with you. I just feel like you can really hurt a Zerg player a whole bunch by feigning an attack, or feinting an attack, which spelled differently to a certain extent, but the same concept, really. And now we have medics, but now we have additional Sunkens. So yeah, 4 Sunkens here, 5 Sunkens here is going to be enough for sure. 159 has to get out of there, and he does. Let the tank production begin, possibly. Meanwhile, we're at 24 drones here for Hamburger. He's got his Spire coming up. He's got 3 gases rolling. He's going to be making some mutas for some old traditional muta harass. So let's see if 159 is prepared for this. If he's going to get an engineering bay for turrets. Yes, he is. Might get some wraiths, too. What I like about fastest map is you start seeing games that are non-standard, right? You see non-standard units in here all the time. So I wouldn't be shocked to see things like Devourers. I wouldn't be shocked to see things like Wraiths. Just stuff that we normally don't see in TVZ. Because Fasces is its own animal. 8 mutas in production there from Hamburger. Engineering Bay is finishing up. You might need to keep these Marines and Medics at home for a little bit if these mutas show up. A lot more Sunkens at the front here. I kind of like this, although it is pretty bustable if you've got tanks. So the mutas are not going to waste any time. As soon as they pop, they are making a beeline for this area. Turrets are under construction, but a little bit late. That said, the mutas want this tank more than anything else, so they don't go for this area first when I feel like they could have got some real damage done. Now less damage as both turrets are complete. There's a dropship in production. A couple of medics getting picked off never hurt anyone either. If you happen to be Berserk player. So pretty good damage done there. I don't think many Mutalisks died at all. Maybe 1 or 2 went down. And overall, Hamburger's in a pretty good spot here. It's at 22 drones, 58 total supply. Sure, there's more of both for the Terran player, but the Terran is pinned in at home. He doesn't want to get out there because he's afraid of what might happen if he leaves. So he's at home for the foreseeable future, which means we can drone up, which means we can make macro hatches, which we're doing. We can get a hive. If you're HamburgerSasu, and you're not HamburgerSasu because you're probably not watching this. Yeah, it's very rare for the player who I'm casting to watch the casts. Or at least if they do, they don't comment on it. Okay, drop attempt doesn't get any drones. We're at 25 drones now, so a good attempt. Managing to sneak that in there when Hamburger was pretty aware of what's going on. Dude, this medic massacre is a problem for 159. He's down to 2 medics. He should have like 10 by now. He did have 10 at some point. What's he building? No, really, but what are you building? Yeah, okay, science vessels, cool. You know, if you're casting Brood War live, you can't see any of that. You can't see what buildings are making. You can't see what upgrades are upgrading. You can't see what's producing. You can't see what's inside dropships or inside overlords. You can't see the production tab. You don't have a worker count up here. It's nuts. Like, I understand this is because of the Brood War purists, right? These are the guys who they never had that. Watching Brood War all through the mid-2000s and late 2000s. And just because we shinied up the StarCraft and gave it a remastered tag doesn't mean we should give information to the viewer. And it... I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, at least make it available so you can turn it off, I guess? It's a very weird decision, I think, that Blizzard made, kind of caving to the hardcore Brood War fans, which I get it. I do. I get that that's how it's always been for Brood War, but man, quality of life stuff is a big deal. This is a pretty big, scary Marine tank army, although there's only 1 tank left after this one dies. Good irradiate, though. Ooh, good split. Really nice split out of Hamburger there. All right, so you have a tank to try to get through these Sunkens, but that's not going to work very well. It's very slow. So what that does, it just buys more time for Consume to finish, for Lurker Aspect to finish, for Greater Spire to finish. And for the Greater Spire to finish. Ah, Valkyries! I told you we'd see stuff we don't normally see. I did. I told you so. Alright, Science Vessel's coming in. They're looking for Defilers to irradiate would be my guess. That's going to be their target here. But, Valkyries are popping. 10 lurkers in production. That's what these eggs are down here. Hamburger down 127 and 97 total supply at 10 minutes. He's about to get huge. Oh, you cannot. You can't lose 2 science vessels like that. That was brutal. It wasn't for nothing, but geez. And we have Guardians. Yes? Yep. See, I told you. Guardians, Valkyries. All sorts of things happening in fastest map you don't get in regular games, that's for sure. Oh, that's a free science vessel. You have delved too deeply and too greedily, but did irradiate a lurker, I guess. I'm assuming one of these guys got it. Yep, lucky lurker. This guy got it. Oh, I think he was trying to get the Guardian and got the lurker instead. Oh, unfortunate. That's really a problem. So lurker dies. Guardian's popping. Popping. Plague being researched here. We've got, I assume we have, that's a nice irradiate. Oh, gosh. Oh, the burrow, though. Oh, the burrow save. Dude, I would have just died to that. But he researched burrow, and burrowed units don't affect their neighbors. Ah, that's sick. That is such a sick play. Hamburger, that's why we like you. It is. Adrenal glands coming in. Marines making a run around to try to get past ye old Sunkens and doing pretty well with it. I mean, a lot of these guys are injured, but otherwise okay. But then the lurkers arrive, and the zerglings, and everybody dies. All right, so decent thought. Gosh. But every Marine who made that attempt died, even the ones that made it past the Sunkens, who thought they were lucky, but they were not. They were not. Goliaths here. Where are you hiding your Valkyries? Here they are. Valkyrie prepared. 6 of them out with tanks. We are moving purely into a mech strategy here for 159. When the Guardians arrive and the Marines, can they get... I don't think they're going to get a single Guardian. I really don't. They tried. They tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't really matter. Oh, I'm... Jim Hamburger's throwing some smack talk out here, you think? Dark Swarm Lurker doing its terrible, terrible damage against everything in the production for 159. The Guardians didn't come. The Guardians decided not to show up, which is too bad because the Valkyries were ready for them. Immediately trying to siege up tanks here to deal with these dudes, but they are making a beeline for that mineral line, and that is burrowing. And not much. Not much there. Still 67 SCVs. The Valkyries are over here trying... There we go. Valkyries now coming in. And doing really well against these Guardians, because anything that can hit Guardians is good against Guardians. They are squishy. Really squishy. 135 to 93 total supply. 159 still has an advantage in overall supply here. A lot of that is SCVs, because the worker count is definitely higher for him. Trying to set up a contain on the Terran player, which I gotta say is pretty gutsy to try to do that. More Valkyries in production, working on additional Hydras and Defilers. Is Senor Hamburger. Hamburger, as they say en français. I don't know that wandering up into that Dark Swarm is exactly what you want to do, 159. In fact, I would recommend entirely against it. And Hamburger just kind of slow pushing in here a little bit. The Dark Swarm about here. Beautifully done by Hamburger. Really wants to sit on top of this production, and I can't say that I blame him for it either. Doing some damage, a little bit of damage to these factories, I guess. 83 SCVs right now for 159. It's a 187 to 113 army supply difference for the Terran. Like, Hamburger is not doing super well. I like the position he's got these lurkers in, I do, but they just want him out of the Dark Swarm and they all died. It's a mass tank setup right now. Is guys are at +1 attack. They're not working on +2, though they could be, and this is the high ground. This is the huge advantage that Terran has, is the ability to set up tanks on the high ground and shell. Some other versions of this map, RJB actually has a specific version of this map where there is no high ground you can sit on. Terrans don't like it as much, but he likes it. Oh, the irradiate, SCV count. Oh, burrowed. My goodness. Oh. He lost 2 SCVs to those 2 irradiates. That's incredible. I really would like to... Okay, so this guy is sacrificial. Here we go. Further unloading. Trying to get a foothold here in Hamburger's base. And actually, he's greedy. He wants to get up. That mineral line got pulled so fast, though. And now the unloading on top of the tanks. Although the Overlords are taking some hits here from these Valkyries. They're chased out. Meanwhile, Dark Swarm Lurker is trying to get rid of these tanks on the low ground here. He can't do much about the high ground tanks right now because the Valkyries are protecting them, but he does get rid of all of the tanks on the low ground that were right up against the wall here, so that helps a little bit. And then further irradiate attempts. Oh, jeez. Ah, that was an already injured drone, I guess, because it died real fast. Didn't really kill anybody else. Okay, this is a good game. I mean, RJB doesn't send me duds, but this is a really nice fastest map game. Look at Valkyries just wrecking Scourge. Valkyries killing Overlords by the dozens. Scourge getting some hits in there too. All right. Doing okay. But still, oh man, these science vessels are getting crushed by the 4 spores. These lurkers are still inside the Terran base and still actually killing tanks and stuff. Because you know what? The Valkyries can't do anything about these. There's a reason we don't see Valkyries a lot in regular games. It's because they can't shoot down at all. And they would have been so nice to have. Look at these Defilers just wandering in. New Dark Swarms. La 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 la. Ooh, he played his own Defilers there. And he got a couple of the Valkyries too, but still, oh my gosh. The Valkyries. You've been plagued already, Valkyries. Don't push your luck on those spores, but absolutely kill these Overlords. Oh, that plague was worse than I thought. Secondary Dark Swarm up. It doesn't stack, but it will be there when the first one runs out, which is the whole idea right there. Ooh, another plague, but catches the science vessels, but also catches all of his lurkers, I feel like. My goodness. Yeah, this game is some really nice back and forth action here. Plague science vessel dies, no surprise. High ground tank dies, bit of a surprise. Gets the irradiate out on the Defiler. Good. And holding 133 to 121 supply. 159 has had an advantage overall. Oh, did some lurkers get down here? Is that 33 SCVs? They must have wandered down when I was distracted by something else. Alright, fair enough. 34 SCVs, slowly rebuilding them with the 3 command centers that he has. He'll be fine. Yeah, trying to unload over here when there's a ton of spores and a ton of lurkers coming up. I mean, this neighboring position thing really creates some fun stuff. I gotta say, lurker spines coming up onto the high ground from the low. We don't see that a lot. We do not see that a lot at all. Firing on these lurkers, but they're not stacked up to the point where they're catching splash damage from anybody else, so they're fine. More high ground tanks set up here. Got some Goliaths on the ground, which again, Goliaths can hit ground and air, which is why we see Goliaths a lot more in regular Brood War games, yeah? Science Vessel, I think, had been plagued, but nice catch. Irradiating that Defiler right before it goes down. I don't know who 159 is, but they've got consistently a 300 APM. So they're giving Hamburger all that he can handle right now. He's maxed out. Hamburger's at 145 supply. Both players spending their money fairly well for fastest map. +2 attack for the mech with +1 armor. The Hydras are sitting at 2-2. Yeah, I mean, no matter how many tanks are being killed here, they're getting replaced pretty effectively by 159. He's making 3 at a time, 3 Goliaths at a time, some Valkyries too. I don't know what this is exactly, other than wandering into Sunkens and dying. Because that's what it is. Just bad pathing. I think he might have told them to do something else. Oh, another Dark Swarm comes up. Hamburger has always been good with the Dark Swarm. He's always been good with the Dark Swarm. Another Irradiate, a couple Defilers getting irradiated, harming a third Defiler that's just in the mix. He burrows in time to stay alive, though, with all of 10 HP. Unloading the tanks. This is the most bold unload and setup we have seen down here. So this one Lurker survives inside the Dark Swarm. Everything else got splash damage to death. And then Ling's very bravely coming down with some Hydra support to clear the tanks out of his homeland. Sasu doing all right. Hamburger's at 91 drones all of a sudden, which is insanity. Keeps trying to get Irradiates off. Ooh, the burrow was a little bit late there, but enough. My goodness, this is the most prolonged I've seen a conflict across a wall like this before in a fastest map game. It is crazy. Really fantastic play. But again, the Valkyrie's doing so much good work in the way of keeping dudes alive. Another Goliath wanders over down this way. How many Defilers will be irradiated in this game? I feel like we're already at about 15. Probably get more. 20, 25. Where are we going to end here? I don't really know. I mean, here's the thing. 159 has made concerted efforts to get a foothold here in Hamburger's base. Hamburger has not really been able to get a foothold in 159's base for the last, I would say, 5 or 10 minutes. So if this trend continues, I see 159 winning this game. Whoever he is, Mr. 159, 159, 15459, you're doing very well against a very terrifying fastest map player in Hamburger here. Double Irradiate, left side, right side. Oh! Down to 82 drones from the 90 whatever he had before. Is he going to try to... He's long distance mining from this one. That's how crazy this is. That is so many Lurkers on the ground. You have enough Valkyries left. They got plagued again. I don't know, man. Alright, so the Lurkers very bravely charging into this situation against +2 tanks. And the Dark Swarm is just doing great things here for Hamburger. There might be a couple tanks remaining in this corner after all is said and done. But the Muta tech switch here, pretty good. Yeah, the Mutas, to take out everything that has been irradiated here today is such an intelligent choice. Oh, but the multiple irradiates are hard to account for if you're trying to split mutas out. If you get irradiated 4 times, that's real rough. Alright, so these tanks are dead, but they got, you know, a handful of kills each, which is better than nothing. I don't know that Hydras are the right choice to try to deal with this. I really don't, as they all get obliterated by said +2 tanks, with getting +3 here at the 26-minute mark. Mind you, this is going to be one heck of a long cast. This might be the longest I've posted ever to the YouTube. I think maybe next month I'll just Twitch this. I think it'd be more fun to Twitch it. Ooh, finally Defensive Matrix comes up to irradiate. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! That from 80 to 64 drones there. That was a hit. We're up to 48 SCVs. I don't know that we're really planning. I guess we're making 3 more at a time. Working on it. This is like the slowest slow push TVZ I have ever seen. Remember how far I can zoom? And check it out. Remember when I said we're getting Devourers? Yeah, I was not kidding about that. We're getting Devourers. They're kind of wrecking these Valkyries because we're outnumbered heavily here. This very, very sneaky transition into Devourers was made possible by the power of fastest map. We are suddenly Guardian devouring here today. +1 attack Guardians, +3 armor. Is this the hammer? This Guardian Devourer force too much. Ooh. And the follow-up of the mass Hydra drop all over this. Oh, and the Dark Swarm. I think 159 might just be done here. The Lurkers are getting huge splashes off. The Hydras are hitting at the same time. Somehow there's still 48 SCVs. I imagine more would be dead, but maybe all the Lurkers died. They got the command center, which is good, but not game-ending necessarily. That's not something you see every day. Mutalisk, Devourer, Valkyrie, Guardian, right? Fastest map is amazing. So it's 156 to 75. I think that's it. That's your GG. And there are this many mutas on top of your production, and you don't have any Valkyries left because the Devourer killed them all. Well, let's just say you're gonna have a bad time. Mutas, get on top of this production. Seal the deal. That's it. GG. 159 has left the game. And that's it. 28-59 or 28-54. Our winner and hero is HamburgerSasu. Gotta say, it wasn't looking good for him for a minute there. There were tanks in his base, but he went for the crazy Devourer Guardian Scourge Mutalisk play while dropping Hydras on that main command center. And didn't kill all the SCVs, but again, ruined kind of the efficiency of the gathering there, and then got a ton of mutas on top of everything else, killed every Valkyrie. And there's a reason we don't see Valkyries in regular games, and I think that answers a lot of it. So we've got one more game to go here today. We are not done yet. Let's check out the final score on this one. 428,000 points for Hamburger, 344 for 159. Ends up killing 596 Zerg units, which is a ton. Structures raised is equal, which is very strange. You don't see that a lot. And resources here, 159, more gas mined, fewer minerals mined, and fewer spent. Hamburger doing everything but getting a ton of gas in this match. So let's move on in. I think we have another fastest map for you. It's not HamburgerSasu, but it's going to be very fun otherwise. Let's see what we get here. We'll be right back with even more StarCraft today, if you can believe it.